Okay, it's time. Let's talk about Corona. Hello and welcome. My name is David and this is Life Escape Guide. Over the last weeks, I didn't really address the whole Corona situation on this YouTube channel. I kind of tried to make business as usual, maybe with a little less reviews and a little bit more VR videos, since they're quite easy to produce from home. And I figured that it is a little weird to produce happy YouTube videos telling everyone how fun it is to play escape rooms, while all over the world escape room companies are closed due to coronavirus and have to fight for their existence. So this is what we're going to look at today. How's the situation for escape room companies in times of Corona? 2 months ago, when this whole Corona situation started to escalate, the UK-based escape room company The Panic Room started a crowdfunder campaign to help their company survive. Over the time of 1.5 months, they raised over £6,000 from over 150 supporters. Now, as so many other escape room companies, they started to offer online escape games that try to mimic the escape room feeling for people to play at home. To find out more about escape room companies in times of Corona, I managed to have a Zoom interview with Alex Sauder, who is the managing director of The Panic Room. Nice having you. Thank you very much for your time.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Probably first of all, your company. So what is the scale of The Panic Room?
So at the moment, we previously had 4 open locations and 70 members of staff. So we have 3 locations in our hometown of Gravesend in Kent, and we have 1 large location over in Essex.
How is your financial situation being in lockdown for, at my calculations, 2 months now?
It's been interesting. Like we to go from like being quite successful to suddenly like our sales like just plummeting like off a cliff to 0 was stressful to say the least. As being a live events company, you rely on ongoing new bookings coming in, and for that to just suddenly dry up overnight it was very difficult. So at that point, especially with us having so many staff, we took the decision to furlough all the staff to make sure that they retain all of their jobs. There was a lot of financial uncertainty from the UK government. They were looking to start implementing schemes where they would pay for the like 80% of the wages. However, there was no confirmation as to when that money would actually come in.
And did it happen?
Finally, so literally, the first time that we've received any money from the government for the wages was literally this week, which obviously, after being closed for 2 months, that's a long time to wait. But because of the uncertainty, I knew that as much as the government were putting things in place, I'd rather have like our fate put into our own hands. So I decided to basically pivot and focus on trying to push the online escape room, so that if the government funding didn't come, then we could self-sustain on something else.
How many people play them? Does it work? Do people accept this new concept? I mean,
yeah, absolutely. I think people have been really embracing it, and I think what's really I think there's 2 main things as to why the online escape rooms are doing really well. First of all is because people are wanting to support their local escape room. I mean, we've been open for like 4 years, and we've built a really nice community of people that support us and kind of have seen us start from the little pop-up that we started as to now this booming company, and people have followed that journey with us. And now they can, even though we're not open, they can still support us and have fun. Like, people need entertainment, like while they're locked inside. So it's something that's a mixture of something that entertains them while they're at home, but also something that's kind of similar to what they used to do when everyone was allowed outside. Remember the outside? It was great. I loved it. It's a nice kind of thing that people have really kind of latched onto, and it's great to see so many different companies doing so many different styles of online escape rooms as well. You would have thought that like online escape rooms hadn't existed before. But of course, that's where kind of escape rooms kind of originally kind of like started from. So we've almost gone back to the beginning, but in a new style.
Yeah, it's kind of a fun ping pong effect, because
Exactly.
the real life escape rooms try to mimic what the point and click games at the beginning did, and now there are computer games that try to mimic what the live escape games try to mimic the computer games.
Exactly. But I think the new online escape rooms that escape room companies are offering are a little. I think they're very different to what the older games used to be, because essentially, like the current escape room owners are applying what they know now about physical rooms to how that can translate to an online medium, which I think is different to how the original types of games were constructed. So we're seeing kind of new types of gameplay, which is it's nice to see.
Yeah, you really sound quite positive. That's very nice to hear. I don't know how the UK situation at the moment for escape rooms is, because it's very uncertain. For me, in Germany, they're right now starting to open up some businesses, but when they're discussing about opening businesses, they obviously never talk about escape rooms in special. So I'm never sure in which wave of reopening they will come in. So do you have any idea how that is in the UK?
At the minute, no idea either. So, I mean, you're absolutely correct about like the classification as to even when like the announcement came on that Friday on the UK Escape Room Owners Group, there were still people debating like, does that mean we're closed? Are we actually closed? Like, do we classify as that? So even like the whole industry was still not quite 100% sure as to whether it includes us, because escape rooms are kind of still fairly kind of new to the overall entertainment market. They obviously like laser tags and mini golfs have been open for years, but how escape rooms kind of classify and fit in a whole is still kind of, for some governments, like still to be determined, because technically like a cinema like will have hundreds of people like kind of sitting in close proximity to them, whereas someone in an escape room, that's potentially just 6 people in a reasonable sized room. It's not anywhere near as dangerous. However, it's still interacting with each other, interacting with an environment that may be contaminated, and you wouldn't even know. So at the minute, there's no date that's been set. Even that, I don't think escape rooms don't think escape rooms will be open until August, which is it's painful.
That's quite a time.
Yeah, I think when we do reopen, there'll probably need to be some operational changes that we'll need to make that will actually mean that when we are reopened, there's going to be extra costs involved. So one thing that's already been discussed is having longer times between rooms. So that allows for basically like a clean between rooms. So to make sure that it's then safe for the next team, and looking at all these different kind of little extra steps that in this new kind of coronavirus world that all businesses are going to have to kind of keep an eye on, not only for their own sake, but for their customers' sake as well.
Yeah. In general, do you think that the whole escape room industry will be changed after this Corona thing will be over in whenever time it will be?
Yeah, I think the whole escape room industry has kind of just been put on hold at the minute. And unfortunately, like some businesses simply won't make it. And it's really, really sad, because there's a lot of people that put a lot of effort into making these experiences for people. And what you'll find is that there's quite a few escape room owners that are like very much like purely creatives. And they create this absolutely beautiful kind of experience. But the business side, they're not as savvy on. By not having that savvy, they potentially might make just one or two minor wrong financial decision, which might have been in the past, or it might be like now while the lockdown is happening, that might lead to them simply not being able to reopen, which is really sad. And it means that there'll be a lot of good rooms that have technically been played for the last time. It's quite sad to think that there's a few rooms that have already had their last group like play, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense, and it is sad, but I just hope that not too many businesses are going out this way?
Yeah, well, I think there's been a lot of government support across different countries, and let's say there have been grants, and like in the UK, just announced bounce back loans where you can get like up to 25% of your turnover, and you can pay it off over 6 years. So it means that there's some financial kind of support there. But the trouble is with those loans, is that then that means that the company like have some money to work on. However, it means that when they do reopen, they're still going to be in a financially not great position, and then not only they not in a good financial position, they've also got a monthly loan to pay off. So it's very difficult to kind of manage like whether it's worth taking the money, whether it's worth trying another avenue. And some people might just put a close sign on the door. But I think what's been really nice to see, both in the enthusiast groups and in the owners groups, is a lot of support for each other, which I think is really good. And people are sharing information. People are recommending to play different games, different ways to support escape rooms. So I think that's the best way for the industry to kind of to bounce back, is by helping each other out, I think.
So this is what Alex had to say about his company in times of Corona. But obviously the Panic Room is only one of hundreds and thousands of escape room companies that have problems all over the world, and for everyone it is a whole different situation. But what most escape room companies have in common is that they've been closed for weeks now, and nobody really knows when they're going to reopen. That brings both the companies and their employees in a difficult financial situation. And that also holds true for the few escape room companies that are allowed to reopen. For example, Austria has reopened some businesses, including escape rooms, this week. But that doesn't mean that people come rushing back to play escape rooms right away. People are still scared about coronavirus and therefore hesitant to play those group activities. So that leaves the question, how can we, the fans, the escape room enthusiasts, help our companies survive these hard times? So there are obviously different answers to this question. But the most easy one, I would say, is if you had a room booked and it was cancelled due to Corona, be friendly to your company. Don't ask for a refund right away. You can maybe agree on rescheduling your game for a later date, or get a voucher that you can use to play a game once escape rooms reopened again. And that's a great segue to the second form you can support companies, and that is to buy gift cards or vouchers right now. That creates an immediate income for the companies, and you can play the escape rooms later on once the companies are reopened, so your money isn't lost. The third and biggest way to support escape room companies right now, we touched upon in this video before, and that is playing their online escape games. They come in all different shapes, sizes and prices, since every company found their own solution how to do an online escape room. The Panic Room, for example, created browser-based games where you play through texts, pictures and QR codes to get to the next hints. Other companies like Escape Game Insbruck use live avatars, which means you see a live feed from the actual escape room and have a person, which is mostly the game master, walk through the room and follow your commands to solve the room. Other companies even do interactive live radio play. Whatever type you choose, they're all in their own way fun and a good way to support companies in times of Corona. So if you like escape rooms as much as I do, let's help give escape rooms a future and have some fun along the way.
I mean, I think the one thing that I would want to make sure to say is that anyone who loves escape rooms, to make sure that you support your local escape room. At the end of the day, like when all of this is all over, yes, if a bunch of escape rooms close, that means a lot of people aren't going to be able to play the escape rooms that they used to. So especially for the enthusiasts, like now is the time to support the companies that they love.
If you liked this video, I'll do more videos about how to get the escape room experience at home over the next weeks. So if you're interested in those, then consider subscribing to my channel. Also press the bell icon to be notified whenever I upload new videos. And if you want to watch a video now, you can click on one of them here on my right. Well then, see you next week, stay at home and stay safe.